is actually a scrambled tofu. So that gives us an alternative. If we're used to having our scrambled eggs on toast, scrambled tofu is a beautiful alternative. So what I do for this one, I used to chop up the onions and the tofu. It's just one of these little mini food processors. You can use the larger one as well. I just usually stick to this one because it's quick to clean. And most of the time at home I'm cooking for the two of us, so I don't need to make a lot. But I'm going to make a family-sized portion today. Just going to put in a little bit of olive oil in the pan for frying. And then I've got here, it's about 2 medium onions just chopped into small pieces. So you can finely dice the onions yourself, but since I'm using the food processor for the tofu anyway, I do the onions in there. It's just quick and easy. Okay, so you just want to grind them until they're chopped finely like that. Okay, so we've got our onions in there. The other thing with this recipe is I always like to use a non-stick fry pan. You can use a stainless steel one, but the non-stick one gives a nicer texture to the tofu once it's done. And it's just a little bit easier to use. And I always try to use one with a lid as well. So I find if you don't have the lid, the tofu loses moisture as it cooks and it's just a little bit too dry. Okay, so while we've got the onion on and frying there, the next thing I do is prepare my tofu. I've got 750 grams here, and that's the recipe I'm doing this evening. I believe the one we're putting on the blog will be 2/3 of this, so it's more for an average size family. This one's probably for a larger family, or so that we can share for everyone here so that you can try it tonight. So it has to be a firm tofu. And we just cut that into small chunks so that it'll go into the processor. If you are only doing a small amount of this, you can crumble the tofu between your fingers, but it's nice and easy just to put it in the processor. Now you don't want to overdo it. If you leave it in there for too long, it'll go really mushy, but you want it about that consistency. So just small chunks. Okay, so we're getting the tofu ready, the onions frying in there. I'm just going to add the flavours to that as well. So I've got over here 6 tablespoons of freshly chopped parsley. It's beautiful and fresh, that one picked from the garden today. got half a cup of semi-dried tomatoes, diced up fine. You can use all sorts of flavours in this. I'm using semi-dried tomatoes tonight. Sometimes I'll put red capsicum in it. I have a friend who put, I think, carrot and fresh tomato in it the other day. You just want to make sure any of those things are finely cut. Going to crush in the 6 cloves of garlic. As you can see, we like our garlic. Okay. And we use the turmeric powder once again just to colour it so that it looks more like eggs at the end. My measuring spoon still like that. Get more. So we'll add 1 teaspoon of turmeric into there. I'm going to put 2 1/4 teaspoons of the Celtic sea salt. And finally, just 3 teaspoons of your vegetable stock. Okay, so we just stir all of that through. And then we add in our tofu. So I don't know if you can see on there, but as you start to stir this tofu through, it all takes up the colour of the turmeric, and then the flavours will go through as that cooks. Tofu's an excellent alternative protein source, and this is a Sunday morning breakfast alternative to your eggs. Okay, I'll just put the rest of that in there as well. So we normally serve this on toast as you would scrambled eggs. Often we'll put some avocado underneath. Sometimes we'll have it, make a smaller batch and have it with baked beans as well. Some fresh cut tomato, cucumber, other veggies like that. It makes a beautiful breakfast. I think it was at Melissa's home one day, we had somebody visiting and he didn't like tofu, so we decided to make it up and not tell him what it was. And he was sitting at the table and he went back for seconds and he said, "Oh, Melissa, what did you put in these eggs? They're just so lovely." So they can be quite convincing, the scrambled tofu. So once you've got all of your ingredients in there and stirred through well, I usually leave it on the heat, just on a medium heat, with the lid on, and just stir it occasionally. And when you do that on a non-stick saucepan, it'll start to just brown a little bit on the bottom and bunch together a little, and really resembles the eggs then when you do it like that. So that's why I leave it in the non-stick fry pan with the lid on to keep your moisture in, and just stirring it probably every 3 to 5 minutes, even 2 minutes. It depends on your fry pan. You just have to keep an eye on it and turn it down a little if you need to. And so I'll just keep that going while I prepare everything else for the breakfast, whether it be chopping up some fresh veggies and getting my toast and setting the table, all that kind of thing. Just leave that going for a little while. So that's the scrambled tofu.